big good one here, and eventually we will. Consider liking, consider subscribing, all that good stuff. Help promote and rank up my channel. Share the video if you want to put me out there more. So we're reviewing The Devil of All Time with director-writer Antonio Campos. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I could be dead wrong. But this film has an all-star cast, and it reminds you of the days when it was star power, star names, famous celebrity names that really used to drive audiences to the theaters, as opposed to today where it's big franchises and stuff that really drive people to the theater. So this film stars, it has an all-star cast: Bill Skarsgård, Tom Holland, Harry Melling, Robert Pattinson, Jason Clarke, Sebastian Stan. You all know Spider-Man and Winter Soldier and the future Batman. So, and I'm only familiar with Tom Holland from the MCU Spider-Man movies, which to me aren't very Spider-Man-like. I think Tom Holland's performances are great, and the villains are typically good in there, but the story and the formula of things just doesn't really set well, and it doesn't feel very true to the essence of Spider-Man with the things going on in the film. So, with that said, though, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this movie. I'll give you Act 1, the best stuff up front, and then I'll move into Act 2, my personal bias, or, something that may not affect your view of the film necessarily. And then I'll give you Act 3, all the problems and flaws I saw with the film. So, up front, this is set in rural Southern Ohio and West Virginia. The Devil All the Time follows a cast of compelling, bizarre characters from the end of World War II to the 60s. The film is an incredibly twisted, dark take on blind religious faith, family bonds, and just kind of selfish, awful human behavior. And the best stuff about this film, though, all the character motivations and actions. I wouldn't say this is one of the best things, but all the character motivations and actions can be summed up by one over-the-top acted scene where Robert Pattinson, his character, is ranting about delusions. But this film is capable of provoking a wide range of emotions. It has some dark, graphic moments, and the performances are filled with intensity, charisma, disgust, and Tom Holland really is the only one to root for. Harry Melling's character, his character is very compelling with its blind faith, somewhat hilarious, a bit deranged and out there, and later just really downright disturbing. And that's easily compared to Bill Skarsgård's character, which does an incredible job. That's, for me, that was kind of where the heart of the film was, as where this all starts. Bill Skarsgård character, with the action Bill Skarsgård's character and Tom Melling's character take, you can easily compare the two with the stuff they do in the name of religion, and it's really compelling to watch these characters, and it has this narration that is pretty informative some of the time, but not all the time. It works well in certain situations, but not always. They also have this kind of non-linear way of telling the story that seems a bit strange. So I'll just jump into the personal bias now, because these actors, well, you know what, Tom Holland, I'm really impressed with Tom Holland on this one. Honestly, Tom Holland, I haven't seen him in anything but the Spider-Man Disney movies and the Avengers ones, but he is really impressive in this one. I got to hand it to him. He made me curious about what other movies he may be involved in, because he does he does have the capability of being much, much more captivating than what Disney's doing with him as Spider-Man. With that said, let's just move into, my personal bias. Now, like I said, this film has a lot of star power. It has a lot of capable performers, some really good, strong performances from some really good actors that are pretty much household names. And because of that, this film may not be as good as I think it is. It might actually be worse. So let's just jump right into the worst stuff about this film. Despite top billing, Tom Holland doesn't appear until 46 minutes into this film. And as I said, he's one of the best characters in the film. His character is one of the best characters in the film. So that, to me, hurts the film. And there are times in here where I feel like accents slip, and as well as the narration that I talked about that could be pretty informative at times, it can also give away too much, take you out of it, and eliminate the element of surprise. And I think that would serve the film better to have more of an element of surprise. In conjunction with that, it has an unnecessary shuffled order of the structure. The back and forth between present and future takes away a lot. And that feels like it just eliminates the element of surprise too. And the way it juggles these different arcs that are meant to be weaved together, it just feels like this fumbling failure even when the tie-in comes. It just feels like they dropped the ball. It feels like it can and should have been done better, but unfortunately it wasn't. And the film can feel a bit directionless, like where are we going? It just kind of jumps around a lot, and you'll often wonder why are we focusing on this? How is this relevant to this over here? So, like I said, when the tie-in does come, it still feels like a lot of things were unnecessary and just didn't really have to be there. But the film also wouldn't be as compelling as it was if certain elements and characters weren't there. So for me, this is really a mixed bag. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I know a lot of people are ranking it higher than that. But I just have to give it a 6 out of 10 because it's got great performances, but there are flaws in those performances, and there are a lot of flaws in the way the story's presented and executed. And ultimately, that hurts the film. But still, it's worth a watch. It's full of some really dark, disturbing, worst of humanity type elements. But also on the flip side of that coin, it shows, that even some of the good intentions, the best intentions, are pretty devilish and awful in themselves. The best intentions and the worst intentions both lead you to hell. Now, I'm an atheist. I'm not religious. And that's another thing, though. If you are religious, you might possibly feel offended by what this film is doing. That's something I didn't think to mention in my personal bias section, but that's absolutely something that's possible right there. If you're really religious, you might be personally offended by what this film's doing. I, on the other hand, I'm an atheist, so I wasn't offended by any of the things taking place in here. I do feel like, there's evidence to support that some religious people do behave in this manner, and they do things, they do take things a little bit too far and think they can do some godly things. themselves. But with that said, 6 out of 10 for this film. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Like I said, if you like my review, like my thoughts, and also comment down below. Let me know. Even if you don't like the review, if you don't like it, let me know what you like most about this film, what you didn't like about this film. If you agree with me on certain aspects, if you don't, you can challenge my view of the film on this by, pointing out certain things or whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and give this a 6 out of 10. If you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified next time I make an upload, and you can tune in for that one. Well, that's that fake good one here. Eventually we will. Stay awesome. Thanks for tuning in, and rock on.